Watch out. Watch out. Well, hey, everybody, I love camp. I do. I love camp. I came here last year. It was amazing. I love it. Everybody has a different favorite part of camp is one of the things I've noticed, though. If your favorite part of camp is hanging out with your friends, can I see your hands? Whose favorite part is friends? Couple of people. What about staying up way past your bedtime? Yes. It's fantastic. Love that part. The games. Anybody? The games? Love the games, especially when you win. What about worship? Who loves the worship? Yeah. Love the worship. How about the food? Anybody? Okay, there's some food. Yeah, that's great. Food's not so bad. Food's not bad. Especially the ice cream machine. If that's back, that's awesome. I think last year my son survived on ice cream and bacon. That was all he ate the whole time. So you have to beat him to the bacon if you want some of that. It's going to be great. My favorite part, though, is none of those things. My favorite part of camp is actually watching all of you tiny human people try to carry in all of your stuff. All of it. Did you see some of these pictures? Like the bags are bigger than you sometimes. The stuff you carry in, it's mind-blowing. Saw a kid carrying a skateboard. Anybody bring a skateboard in? Skateboards, volleyball, football. Yeah, that kid. I mean, Chick-fil-A. You can't beat that. That's a great idea. He went shopping at Trader Joe's. He looks like he's in pain. If he's in your C group, pray for him. He's got some problems. There he is. Let's go. Oh, boy. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. It's just so much stuff. Did anybody bring their own pillow to sleep on? That's good, because we don't have them unless you brought them. Anybody bring your own mattress? No? Okay. Well, you may be wishing you did a couple days. Who knows? Now, everybody carried in different stuff, right? Everybody carried in different things that they thought that they would need for the week. But did you know that every single person in this room, you included, you carried something else in here that you actually don't need to carry? Everybody did. Every student, every sixth grader, every seventh grader, every eighth grader, every leader brought in something that you don't need to carry, but you have been carrying it, I'd be willing to bet, for a very, very long time, and it's killing you. Now, I learned about this thing, oddly enough. I know this sounds strange. I learned that I was carrying this thing when I went to the dentist. I know, the dentist. Who likes the dentist? Do you like the dentist? Why? Why would you like is your mom a dentist? Why are you raising your hand? I don't understand. All they do is like scrape your teeth and drill them. It's awful. Okay, here's another question. Listen up. Who's had a cavity and is willing to admit it? There's no shame here. This is a judgment-free zone. Who's had a cavity? Yeah, okay. For too much candy. Did they drill the cavity? They did? You got the drill thing? Okay. Okay, now listen. Here's the thing. I don't like the dentist, right? I don't like the dentist. If your mom or your dad is a dentist, please tell them that I don't like them, okay? That's not them, just the job they chose to do. I don't like it. So I chose to not go to the dentist for just a little time, like 10 years. I did not go. I know. And okay, here's the thing though. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but when you did go to the dentist, you probably had lots of cavities, right? And the answer is no. I had 0 cavities. I was like, this is great. They said no cavities. That's the good news. And I was like, that's the good news. Is there more? And they said, well, there's some bad news. You have something else. It's called periodontal disease. I was like, I don't know what that means. Is that better? Is that worse? And what they said was that means is that there was actually bacteria that were under my gums and were eating my jawbone away. Which, if you like to chew food, like you need a jawbone, right? Like down here, it's kind of important. It was being chewed away. And so what they did, it was 1,000 times worse than having a cavity drilled. They peeled my gums back like a banana. I know, imagine it. Really, in great detail right now. Imagine just, and then they power washed my gums. It was absolutely horrible. Now, as they were doing this, they said something else to me. They're looking inside of my mouth, and they said the strangest thing. They said, hey, do you have a lot of pressure in your life right now? Are you carrying a lot of weight? And I was like, I thought you guys were the dentist. Why are we talking about this? And they looked inside my mouth and they said, well, you've got scars on the inside of your cheeks from where you've been biting your cheeks at night. That's a telltale sign of someone who feels like they're under a lot of pressure. I was like, I've never thought about this before. And I took a step back in that moment from my life, took a step back. And I thought about the pressures I was feeling in this moment, which you've got some of these same ones. They might be a little bit different, the details might change, but you've got some of these same pressures. I was in a new city. I had just moved to Cincinnati. I didn't know anybody. I was making new friends. And I was really under this pressure of, what if I don't make friends? What if nobody here likes me? What if I'm going to be alone? I had just started dating a girl who eventually I married, but at this point, I didn't know if she liked me. And so I felt this pressure of, is she gonna like me? Is she gonna accept me? Is she gonna reject me? I didn't know. I had started a new job. I was uncertain about that. I was pretty much uncertain about everything in my future. I was carrying all of the weight of all of that on my shoulders. Now, that feeling of pressure on you, that it's all on you, that has a name, and it's called stress. And you all are at the age where stress starts to creep onto your back and dig itself into your shoulders, and you feel it. Some of you feel it when you walk in here today. Maybe it's your first time at camp. Maybe you're in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, your first time. And you walk into a new place and it can be scary, right? Like, what if I don't like it? What if my C group doesn't like me? What if my leader smells funny? Like, there's things that you just wonder, right? Or you're at the age where maybe you've switched into a new school. Maybe that's coming for you in the fall, and there's this pressure. There's a pressure to perform. Maybe you have parents who expect you to get A's or B's or nothing else. And you can feel all these kinds of pressure. Pressure in sports, pressure to play well in band. All of these things, you feel like it's all on you. Now, there are 3 kinds of stress, by the way. 3 things that want to sit on your shoulders. And again, right now at your life is the choice where you're going to decide whether or not you're going to pick them up and carry them for the rest of your life, or whether you're going to let God do that for you. Now, the first kind is the pressure of significance. It's this pressure that we all feel and we all face to decide whether we're going to be somebody who wins or who loses. Are we going to get there in life? Are we going to make the team? Are we going to be somebody who people look up to and respect and say, wow, look at her, wow, look at him? And so the pressure and the temptation is to carry this weight on our backs, and it's heavy. Now, the problem is, this by itself would be bad enough. But we don't just carry this one, we also carry the pressure of our future on our backs. What's going to happen next? Am I going to get there? Am I going to like next year's grade? I liked 6th grade. What about 7th grade? Or 7th grade wasn't so great. What about 8th? And there's this fear of what's coming for us in the future. We feel like it's all on us to attempt to make it into the future that we want. And then on top of that, if that weren't bad enough, we all feel the pressure of carrying around our own identity. Am I good enough? Am I loved? Am I worthy? All those things. You've heard it already as we've sung songs, as you heard from Jason just a little bit. There's an idea that God loves you. That goes beyond just saying he likes you. It means he wants to tell you who you actually are. But we don't start there. We also start carrying this around. Am I good enough? Are people going to like me? And the normal pattern of the world, by the way, is just to carry these things. We think that what we have to do is just carry them on our backs, and there's no other option. And by the way, your generation is becoming known for this. I don't know if you know this. Your generation is becoming known as the most stressed out generation that we've actually ever seen. That's not great. That's not great. There's other things you can shoot for, right? You can shoot for like the most ice cream eaten or the most chocolate milk. That could be a record you set this week. You can kind of reset things. But this is where you guys are trending. Now, in my life, the most stressed out time of my life was actually 7th to 9th grade. And it's because that's the time where I changed schools 3 times in 13 months. 3 times I was the new kid. Anybody ever been the new kid at school? It probably wasn't your favorite time in life, right? Because when you show up to the cafeteria, you don't know anybody. You don't know who to sit with. When you show up to class, you don't know the teachers and they don't know your name. There's this disconnect. It was really hard. In the middle of it, I went to this little school and it was a terrible school. I think you can say this will make sense in a minute. It was awful. I had a Spanish teacher who did not speak Spanish, okay? That feels like that should be a requirement for that job, am I right? She speaks Spanish. She was like, class, repeat after me, tortilla. We were like, I don't think that's how you say that. She was like, quesadilla. We're like, that's not right, Mrs. Smith, so it's terrible. Now the truth is, with all these packs, the lie of the world that culture will get you to believe is that you should be able to carry it, that you should be able to do this, that you should be able to make everybody like you, that you should be able to determine your own future and become significant in some way, do something that impresses people and allows them to accept you, that your future and where you go is all in your hands. The world says you should be able to carry this, but I'm here to tell you, you cannot carry it. The strongest person in the world cannot carry it. Who right now I think is probably the Liver King. Anybody seen the Liver King? This guy's crazy. He looks like he's sculpted from marble. Yeah, and he said he got there by eating only raw liver, which I'm like, if that's what it takes, I don't want to be strong. No, thank you, no, thank you. Now, even the Liver King cannot carry this weight on his own. It's impossible. Impossible. So what do? Because these things don't go away, right? I mean, you do want to know who you are. You do want to know what you're worth. You do want to be significant. You do want to have a future that's good and hopeful and amazing. You want all those things, yeah? You want them. Well, the good news is that Jesus has a solution. Jesus says, why don't you take all of that weight off of your back and put it on mine? He says, why don't you, in fact, never put it back on again? What if you were to rest for the rest of your life from carrying the weight of who you are, what you accomplish, and what happens in the future? What if you gave it to Jesus? This is what he actually says. My favorite number, by the way, I don't know if you have a favorite number? Shout out your favorite number. What is it? Got it. Yep. That's what I thought it would be. I heard an 11. Is here an 11? Yes. 11. Anybody have 28? Anybody favorite number 28? I can't, no, okay. Okay, listen. I have a favorite number. Do you know what my favorite number is? No, not 146. My favorite number is 1128. I love this number. When it's 11:28 a.m. or p.m., I throw a party. Like, yes, it's 11:28. I love it. Why? Because I was born on 11/28, November 28th. It's my birthday. That's why I love it. And I've just kind of always loved it. But it wasn't until recently when I was going through these things around this idea called stress and the pressures, where God used that number I've always loved to pull my attention to this thing that Jesus said in the book of Matthew. Listen to this. This is incredible. Jesus says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, like you're carrying this weight on your back. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. The most amazing promise. And he doesn't mean one time, he means for a lifetime. There's another translation called The Message that spells this out in a way that's a little bit easier to understand. It says, are you tired, worn out? Come to me. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Jesus says, don't put it on your back, put it on mine. And I know there's leaders in here too. You're hearing this and you're going, I've always carried this weight. Well, you don't have to anymore. You can leave it here with you, with your students as you walk them through this. Jesus says, rest. It's actually the design he has for your life, and it's part of what will make you stronger. Not carrying the weight, resting will make you stronger. You know, there's this wild scene in the Bible. It's at the very beginning of Jesus' ministry where Jesus fights the actual devil. Is that crazy? Not like the devil's sidekick, the actual devil. Okay, now imagine, what would you think if someone said, hey, good news, bad news, depending on the outcome, you're gonna fight the devil in an hour. what would you do? I'd start working out, you know what I mean? Like I get in a couple push-ups, you know, I maybe drink some Prime and something, just try to get jacked, get ready for it. That's what I would do. In the movies, if you're gonna have a big battle, you have this epic training montage, you do all these workouts. Do you know what Jesus did? As he was preparing to fight the devil, do you know what he did? It's crazy. He went camping. Literally, he goes to the wilderness and he spends 40 days resting. Now, a lot of times this story is taught as like Jesus went and he fasted, which he did. He totally fasted, absolutely did that. But it's taught as almost like Jesus did this really hard thing before he went to fight the devil. Like he was gonna prove how strong he was by doing it with one hand behind his back. Like, now I'm gonna win, right? But that's not it at all. See, rest, we're going away to spend time with God doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. When Jesus faced that temptation with the devil, he was able to answer questions about all three of these things, all of them. Why? Because he had spent time resting with God. You're supposed to rest. Now, all rest is not created equal, okay? All rest is not equal. It's possible to rest by yourself, not with God. Anybody play video games? I love video games. Tears of the Kingdom came out last year. I love that game. Let's go. I'm not as far as I want to be, okay? I'm not as far as I want to be, but I love that game. Breath of the Wild before it, amazing games. Now, when you play video games, it can be fun. I think it's great, right? Or watch movies or whatever. That's really great. But the problem with all those things is that as you do them, if you're carrying the pack, you sit down to play the game, and you play the game, and when you stand up, the pack's still there. You didn't actually take it off. And in fact, the world, the kind of rest that it offers, while it can be fun for a while, it's not built to help you advance. It's built to steal and take your life. This is the craziest quote. This is from the guy who runs Netflix. I like Netflix, I really do. I like Netflix, right? It's great. Good shows on there. And the guy who runs it has said it's not for your benefit. He's not trying to help you rest. This is what he actually said. When you watch a show from Netflix and you get addicted to it, you stay up late at night. We're competing with sleep. He literally goes, we're trying to get you to not rest with all this stuff. See, there are kinds of rest that look like rest that won't actually give you what you want. See, resting in God is different. When you rest with God, he restores you. You slow down and you do what you did with that video, which was amazing, right? That was incredible. You spend time with God, and when you do, you actually hear what he has to say to you. You hear him talk about your identity. And by the way, if you don't know this, what he says about you is that he loves you, and that he's for you, and that he's proud of you, and that there's nothing you ever have to do to earn any of it, and you can never lose it. It's secure in him. About your significance. He says he's called you and created you for a purpose. He says victory is sure. And if you'll listen to him and you'll believe him, you can live letting him carry those for you. About your future. He says he has a hope and a future for you. He has plans and dreams and visions for you better than you could ever imagine. He's already got it. And if you'll let him carry it, you can experience the joy of living freely and lightly. Rest is what he designed you for. Rest. If you go all the way back to the beginning of the Bible, Genesis 2, it's the very beginning of the Bible. It's the story when God made the earth. And the craziest thing happens. He takes 6 days to kind of make all the stuff. He makes animals first and then people, which makes sense. You know, like make a dog first. I like dogs first, right? I don't know why he made cats. I wish we could kind of have a redo on that one, but he did. Okay? Cat people. I don't understand cats, that's all. And then on the 6th day, he makes people, okay? 6th day is people. And on the 7th day, God rests. So he's had 6 days of work and then he rests. But think about this. If you're the people he created, you're made on the 6th day. Your very first whole day is the 7th, which is a day of resting with God. It's meant to be the starting spot for your whole life. And I'm just here to tell you, please, 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 you can be different. You can be different than your neighbors. You can be different than the other kids in your class who are struggling and carrying these things. You can live freely and lightly. You can make a decision to put them down and never pick them up if you rest. God wants you to get a lot of rest too, by the way. We're almost at the end here. I want to do a little bit of quick math at the end. Who likes math? You like math? Okay, I need a mathlete right here. Can you come on stage? Just come right. Yeah, yep, right here. You got this. Let's give her a hand. She's going to do math for all of us. Okay, now your job, I'm going to say some numbers, okay, and you're going to add them up in your head. Can you do that? Are you still sure that you're good at math? No, okay, she's not sure anymore. Okay, you can sit back down if you're not sure. That's good. Yeah, wow, okay. Right back here, yep, right there. Yep. Come on up. Let's go. Can you do this? Can you add in your head? Use a calculator? What's happening to you kids? Unbelievable. There's this kid. No, get back down. No calculators. No, okay. Yeah, okay, one more. You can add in your head. Are you so confident about that? Or you like to think about it a little bit longer?
I'm pretty confident.
Okay, you can do it. Okay, here we go. Here's some numbers for you. Now, how much does God value rest for you? That's the question. How much does he want you to rest? Well, in the Bible, not only does he make the first day of humanity rest, but he actually commands rest into the rhythms of our life. There's a thing called the Sabbath. Maybe you've heard about it before. Maybe your parents have heard about it. Maybe you heard about it in kids club or student ministry. But the Sabbath is generally taught as 1 out of 7 days. Okay, 1 out of 7 days, which is 14.2% of days. Can you remember that? 14.2%, got it? But the Sabbath doesn't stop there. Do you know the Bible also describes taking a rest 1 out of 7 years? For a whole year, it says to rest. 1 out of 7, which is 14.2% more. And if you add those together, you get 28.4. Yes, nailed it. But that's not enough. Listen to this. God says 1 out of 50 years, do a whole nother year of rest. That's 2 more percent. 28.4% plus 2% is 30.4%. Give her a hand. Amazing job. We'll get you a t-shirt later, okay? See Joel for your t-shirt. He's going to take care of that for you. Well done. Well done. Here's the point. Loud and clear. The God who created you, who knows how you function, has the most amazing invitation for you. He says, don't carry the weight. Instead, rest with me your whole life. You can do it. You know, for me, my cheeks right now, inside of my cheeks, if you could see them, we got a camera in there. Right in there. It is smooth as a baby's butt. No more scars. I don't chew them anymore at all. Why? Because I decided to trust God, that he can carry the weight for me. And he does. It's amazing, and he'll do it for you. I hope and pray at this camp that what you do, what you step into, maybe even tonight with your C group leader, is this: take a step towards thinking about what would it be like to take these off. Maybe there's one of these that stands out to you. Maybe you really worry about what people think about you. Maybe you really worry about being successful in school or sports, or maybe it's just a general concern about your future. Whatever it is, my challenge to you tonight, if you want not just a fun camp, but a camp that sets you free, a camp that gives you a life that God's created for you, take a step forward tonight, and in your C group, tell your leader about which pack. Oftentimes it can be somebody else who helps us take that off. I'll read a verse to you. Just for you. This is God's promise, just for you. Some verses in the Bible are for everybody. This is just for you, specifically written for people who I think are your age, middle schoolers. Isaiah 40 says, God gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths, that's you, grow tired and weary. And young men, young women stumble and fall, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will walk and run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. That's our prayer for you as this camp gets going, is that you would discover the God who wants you to rest with him for your whole life. Let me pray for you. God, thank you for every student who came. Thank you for every student who's hung in so far, who's wanting more of you, God. I'm asking that you would show up for us, that for every one of them, you would help take the weight and the stressor and the pressure off of their back, that you carry it for you. Pray for everybody. They would take a step closer to giving their whole life, every part of it, to you this week. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for loving us. Amen.